sequences with me in a cage are being stretched out far too long here. Can't we talk this out somehow? Maybe rock, scissors, paper, like in the old days?
Huh. You know I always go for the good old rock. But speaking of stones, I will soon have all the stones of Finichu together. And then...
Nobody gives a damn about your stupid marbles, you dumbass.
While Tanya was engrossed in an animated discussion with her stepbrother, the brain-eating evil was already attempting a, more or less, fruitless attempt to free her. Since undead simply resurrected somewhat later in the graveyard after their demise, an unsuccessful onslaught was no great tragedy. Admittedly, the creature-wasting evil probably never took the loss of subordinates too tragically in the first place. But back to the subject at hand. Fortunately, there were ancient burial chambers in the vicinity, which were home to powerful undead, and could provide a significant supply of reinforcements. The map-studying evil eagerly took notes.
Ha! See that, Tristan? My armies will free me. Go on, you undead! Knock them down! Eat their brains! I don't know, just do something.
A temple with a sacrificial pit would need to be built before the merciless evil's undead creatures could summon more minions. Quickly, the construction-obsessed evil set about doing just that. frivolous evil had erected a temple. From now on, light could be stored there, which would greatly enhance the ode to grave-wearing evil's undead armies. payday. The sacrificial evil had a temple built complete with a sacrificial pit. The greedy-looking black maw with its dark void seemed to be eagerly awaiting offerings. Presumably, the evil spirits would reward each sacrifice with some soothing blight. The experimental evil set about testing this theorem. Strengthened by the captured blight, one of the undead creatures was able to summon a minion to its side. The extravagant evil was satisfied to note that its undead were able to use blight and minions to maximize the number of creatures that could be used carelessly.
It seems your creatures don't even dare to leave the underground, Talia. But they are not safe there either. Forward, men! Destroy the dungeon in the underground!
It seemed as if the sacrificial pit would belch sated were it not simply an inanimate object. The sacrificial evil had sacrificed enough things for the time being. It was time to go on the offensive. The exceedingly rich evil threw glittering gold into the sacrificial pit. Putrid light was spewed out in return. Well, they say money doesn't stink, but maybe what you get for it. The colourful clothes-wearing evil had discovered a dungeon gate in the underground. Apparently, this was one of the 3 lost burial chambers. All that was needed to benefit from it was to open the burial chamber, presumably with a few firm blows. The gruesome evil welcomed a Bone Lord into its ranks. Not only could this mighty swordsman both dish it out and take it, but could also summon skeletal mages as minions. This was apparently the final resting place of the legendary mercenary army, the Scallywag Ragtags. The pragmatic evil was bound to have an idea as to what it could do with the undead found there. The zombie-like evil had unleashed powerful undead forces. The use of these powers meant each of its undead creatures could both move faster and summon an additional minion to its side. Each additional burial chamber would provide 1 additional minion. A wailing hero disappeared into the sacrificial pit. Seductive blight spread a comforting undead chill through the temple. Powerful undead forces allowed additional minions to rise from their graves. The resurrected evil unleashed its accelerating undead forces. Additional minions rose. Wilhelm's scream, a little snob disappeared into the depths of the sacrificial pit. This would provide the little snob-burning evil a bit of light. The poking around evil had discovered another burial chamber. The uneval evil had thrown evilness into the sacrificial pit. Was this a sensible idea? Powerful undead forces allowed additional minions to rise from their graves. This tomb was dedicated to the archers of the Scallywag Ragtags. Legend has it that they could miss a barn door even at 10 meters. Their corpses would certainly be put to good use by the self-sacrificing evil. A crate disappeared into the maw of the sacrificial pit. The evil spirits were a little confused about the sacrifice, but still spat out some blight. Undead forces roamed the land. Additional minions now stood available. The achievement Accumulating Evil had now discovered the third burial chamber as well. Your gold vein is nearly exhausted. The remains found here were those of the alchemists of the scallywag ragtags, who considered arsenic to be a refreshing mouth gel. These corpses would prove perfect vessels for mindless zombies. Payday.
My armies are getting closer, little brother. Want to go ahead and pick out a nice tombstone? Not that you need it when I put your head on a spear.
We do not need to further elaborate on your misdeeds, sister. My armies are not yet defeated, and the hero's courage is unbroken.
The courage may be unbroken, but the spine.
Ha! The vile stench of the undead is still coming ever closer. Forward, faithful! Destroy that vermin!
Problems, brother mine? Is that the sweat of fear I can see on your brow? This reminds me of when you were going to ask Chelsea Chubby Cheeks to prom.
That's not the point here.
And she dumped you because she wanted to take her dog for a walk instead.
Powerful undead forces allowed additional minions to rise from their graves.
Come on, let's beat them, fry them up, smear them on our toast.
The sovereign evil had freed Talia from the clutches of her stepbrother. Pity, really. I found it quite pleasant not to have someone constantly interrupting me.
I will ignore your insolence for now, but only because I have to deal with that damned Tristan. The step in stepbrother is going to be an architectural statement when I'm done with him.
Lost in her rant, Talia had missed the fact that her stepbrother Tristan had meanwhile made a run for it.
What? That cowardly, dishonest, disgusting!
Talia had been rescued from the clutches of her stepbrother Tristan by the absolute evil. This seemed a bit surprising as, after all, Talia had accidentally caused its demise only one cutscene earlier. But the disembodied essence of the irritated evil was restless due to its lack of physical form. It needed help finding a new body. In such cases, less competent personnel were also called upon. Talia was extremely grateful to have been freed from the cage after 3 long missions. Finding a new body for the absolute evil seemed a small price to pay. High up on the fourth highest peak in the world, Mount Snotmore, resided the venerable Council of Little Snots. These wise beings were the ones who would know what would constitute a new, adequate vessel for the absolute evil. All Talia had to do was reach the peak. A trifle, really, but unfortunately, her stupid stepbrother and his oversized army stood between her and her goal. Otherwise, however, it would have been so easy that even a group of gluttonous hobbits could have managed it.